That was the E-Zone with Honeybee and Kareem Boyatings. In the entertainment block on Nationwide 90 FM.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the government cannot listen only to the loudest stakeholders when apportioning state resources.
We have to be careful about allocating resources based on who makes the biggest presence in the media. Because then if you do that, you leave other people out.
And the finance minister says a reduction in GCT at this time would have a lesser impact on poorer Jamaicans.
The majority of the benefits on a dollar basis are skewed towards higher income groups. So it is not as impactful.
Stakeholders question whether employers will be asked to assume some of the costs associated with the government's newly announced unemployment insurance scheme.
Dr. Kevin Blake is the country's new police commissioner.
This morning, I received a copy of a letter appointing Dr. Kevin Blake as the new police commissioner, effective March 19, 2024.
Head of the Area 1 Police, ACP Clifford Chambers, says military forces have been brought in to help curb the gang conflict in Grange Hill, Westmoreland.
In news from the rest of the world, political parties in Haiti reject a plan to install new leaders.
Georgia judge dismisses some criminal charges against Donald Trump.
In sports, world double sprint champion Noah Lyles says it's hard being a black man in the United States and that he represents them with a heavy heart.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark opened the budget debate yesterday, where he revealed that there'll be no new taxes for the 7th consecutive year. Dr. Clark will join us to discuss some of the announcements he made yesterday.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what was the standout announcement from Dr. Nigel Clark's budget presentation? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
And in the nation's business at 6:40, the Forces Deputy Commissioner in charge of Development and Logistics, Dr. Kevin Blake, has been confirmed as the next commissioner. We'll get reactions to his appointment from former Deputy Commissioner Mark Shields and criminologist Dr. Jason Mackay.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, March 13, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the government cannot listen only to the louder stakeholders when apportioning state resources. He was again defending the decision to limit the increase in the country's income tax threshold to $1.7 million. The finance minister says everyone must benefit from the country's hard-won gains. Siobhan Campbell reports.
The finance minister says the government cannot ignore thousands of Jamaicans who would see no benefit from a drastic increase in the income tax threshold. Chief among them, seniors who've seen their fixed pensions chipped away by years of inflationary pressures.
We have to be careful about allocating resources based on who makes the biggest presence in the media. Because then if you do that, you forget. You leave other people out. So take on the threshold. Everybody's been talking about the threshold, and very justifiably so. The last time we adjusted it was 2018. But if we were to just talk about what's in the public domain and what people are talking about, we would have forgotten the fact that the threshold for the seniors was last adjusted 2009. So if you're going to adjust, who you should adjust first? The person who got adjusted in 2018 last, or the person who got adjusted in 2009?
On Tuesday, Dr. Clark announced a modest increase of $200,000 in the personal income tax threshold of $1.5 million. The measure will cost the government roughly $9 billion in revenue. Seniors over 65 received a boost in their age relief and pension exemptions of up to $250,000. Dr. Clark defended the move as an equitable and thoughtful decision.
Now, why is that important? It's important because persons who are on pension and elderly, many of them would have retired at a time before this newfound economic stability that we enjoy. It's unprecedented. And they would have retired at incomes that are low, much, much lower because of what we've been through. And their incomes don't change. Yeah? And they too are living through this Jamaica that we're all living through. So as much as it might be challenging for working people, let's say in the middle of the earning spectrum, it is even more challenging for the seniors who have retired on lower pensions because of past salaries and who are senior erosion. Yeah.
The finance minister also says it would be unfair if only 30% of the population benefited from this year's budget.
So the division is there are 30% of persons, meaning on the TAJ who are in the system, there are 30% of persons above the threshold and 70% below the threshold. So any resources that we have to allocate, equity and fairness demands that we don't just treat with the 30% and leave the 70% out. In what world would that be fair and just? And again, if you just listen to the noise, I don't want to call it noise, but if you just listen to the public chatter, you would forget about the 70%, but not this government. That's not who we are. Of course we listen to what's in the public, but we have to think about all Jamaica in the allocation of resources.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the finance minister explained why the government did not further reduce General Consumption Tax GCT. He says a reduction in GCT at this time would have a lesser impact on poorer Jamaicans.
The majority of the benefits on a dollar basis are skewed towards higher income groups. So it is not as impactful. It might have it could have a better feel good, but it's not as impactful. When we did it, we made the point that it was in that phase of abolition of taxes and removing of taxes, it was important that everybody could say that they got something. So that was the context in which we did it. It was not a welfare measure. And you can go back and look at my speech when I lowered the GCT by 1%.
He also says GCT remains one of the most reliable taxes in the country.
And another more fundamental thing is that GCT, we have a system where a lot of people are outside of the tax net for a variety of reasons. Informality is huge. So we only have, half of the workforce that's contributing to the system in NIS and NHT, etc. GCT is the one tax that everybody pays. You can't escape it. So in an informal system where only half of the people pay on the income and the statutory deductions, what you want to do is to definitely keep that tax that everybody pays, because that is where the equity is in the society. Yeah? As I said, we had very specific reasons for why we reduced it the last time.
Dr. Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, he was speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday.
And the government's move to introduce an unemployment insurance scheme has been welcomed, but there are a few questions over whether employers will be asked to assume some of the costs. An unemployment insurance scheme refers to a program that provides financial support for people in case they lose their job. The disclosure is one of several announcements made by the finance minister during his budget presentation on Tuesday. Shalois Michael has that story.
Dr. Clark informed the nation that his ministry is expected to sign a $20 million loan agreement with the World Bank to implement an unemployment insurance scheme in Jamaica. Employees who contribute to the National Insurance Scheme will automatically be included in the plan and will become eligible once they have proof of termination. Noted chartered accountant and financial commentator Dennis Chung says the move is a step in the right direction given the country's record low unemployment rate.
This unemployment insurance is the first time that we are trying to start to deliver on what the IMF said was very important in 2013, which we haven't done, which is labor market reform. This should be the start of labor market reform. We couldn't have done it before, because you can't have unemployment insurance in a country with unemployment of 14%, because you constantly have people on unemployment at that time.
Tax expert Alison Peart says while she welcomes the move, she's anticipating that the scheme will not be misused or abused.
You pay into NHT whether you use it or not. So whether you have a house, you're paying this tax for people. So I think what we should look at is making sure the unemployment insurance does what it should, which is ensuring that in between jobs, or if you are pregnant and you lose your job, you get it. We have to watch though, because you should be getting back what you paid in. It shouldn't be a dole, or a form of money for you.
Meanwhile, President of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, says the introduction of an unemployment insurance scheme should not be an added burden for employers.
The minister kind of hinted that it might be an expense, I don't know, probably I could be wrong, to the employer. There are many ways to skin a cat, and I think that particular nuance, how we pay for the unemployment insurance, I don't think it should be an added expense. So wherever that money is going to come from, at the end of the day, a new addition to the employment landscape at this point in time should not be an expense to the employer.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Tax expert Alison Peart and economist Keenan Faulkner have applauded the tax breaks announced by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark on Tuesday, even while expressing the need for details. The two were members of a panel speaking on Tuesday evening on Nationwide at 5, shortly after the minister's budget presentation in Parliament. Norgay Banton has that report.
Among the measures the Finance Minister announced are increases in the personal income tax threshold for employees and pensioners, as well as a reverse tax credit. Speaking on Nationwide at 5, shortly after the minister's budget presentation in Parliament, Peart and Faulkner described the measures as largely balanced and equitable.
I think it is that, when you run the numbers, you spoke about it would cost 23 billion if you raise it to 2 million, it would cost 34 billion if you raise it to 2.5, it would cost 45 billion if you raise it to 3. So that's a big ticket item, it's very expensive. And it now ends up costing 9 billion to raise it to 1.7. I think an effort was made to try to raise it to a point beyond which, you might have to start consider maybe possibly raising taxes. And I don't think that is what the minister really wanted at the end of the day. And that's how he was able to now find that balance between giving this back and also maintaining ourselves on the trajectory that we're on.
Faulkner describes the threshold increase for pensioners as a small ticket item which will yield massive impact.
Pensioners especially, you're talking about people at the end of the working life cycle who are especially falling in that vulnerable category. For if you have so long without raising those thresholds, doing it now is what I would have referred to as, removing those sort of structural bottlenecks. These are the smaller ticket items that were not previously paid attention to, but they had a big effect, right, in terms of the magnitude on those persons. This is likely to have a bigger effect for those persons compared to persons who are earlier in the working cycle.
Peart, meanwhile, says she was pleased to note that the movement in the income tax threshold was not too large as to trigger inflationary shocks.
The other thing that I think is important is the movement of that income tax threshold, because I have economists on here, I'm not one, but I know my value for money, and from the time this was changed to now, it has greatly eroded. So I was happy to see it. I was just worried about the inflationary cost if we went and made that amount really, really large.
As for the reverse tax credit, Peart says that in principle it will bring more people into the formal economy and provide a truer reflection of the country's GDP.
I like the reverse tax credit because it pushes more people to file and come out of the informal sector. The amount of 20,000, I don't know if that will be enough to encourage persons, but I would love for more of us to be in the formal sector, because when I look at what our economists tell us is our GDP, and I look around, I don't think we're capturing everything.
Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
15 minutes after 5.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go off and buy this pack. So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
Accelerate your career with the right ally. Mona School of Business and Management. Explore our suite of highly ranked, specialized, globally competitive graduate degrees, including our internationally accredited MBA program. At MSBM, we nurture critical thinkers and innovative leaders, placing our graduates in a league of their own. Join the community of trailblazers making an impact at home and abroad. Apply online today. Global knowledge, regional solutions.
Continuing the news, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area 1, Clifford Chambers, says military forces have been brought in to help curb the gang conflict in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. A curfew is in effect in the area as of Tuesday, as the police intensified their search for persons of interest implicated in the ongoing gang war between the King Valley and the emerging Ants Posse gangs. The violence has resulted in the killing of 5 people since Saturday. ACP Chambers says several initiatives have been launched in the area.
Consequent on the flare-up of crime, violence, gang criminal activities in the Grange Hill space, the police with support from the military has initiated several initiatives to contain and cauterize the issues, whilst we target and focus on some communities and some persons of interest. We do have a curfew that is still in force, and at the same time, the security forces are conducting several road policing initiatives with support from specialized operation and the area team and the military, of course.
ACP Chambers says schools which closed due to the violence should reopen shortly. He also praised the residents of Grange Hill for cooperating with the police.
As it is right now, we are ready for school to be resumed as we continue our policing activities to control, cauterize, and maintain law and order. So we actually give the assurances that school can resume. The community is 100% in support of what we're doing, and we're getting good cooperation. Good information is being provided. We're getting some good results with regards to those persons we have an interest in. And incidentally, we're making some recoveries on the ground as we promote the space with our initiative and our activities.
Clifford Chambers, ACP.
Meanwhile, Principal of Grange Hill High School, Trevine Donaldson Lawrence, says classes will resume on Thursday.
Based on where we are now and the reassurance given by the police force, I believe we are in a better space and a better state to say that school will resume tomorrow amid the support that is given not only from the Area 1 police but also from the local support on the ground. Based upon the assurance given, I believe we are in a good position to reopen face-to-face classes tomorrow.
Trevine Donaldson Lawrence, Principal of Grange Hill High School.
And the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, is lamenting how the surge of violence in Westmoreland is impacting schools. At least 3 institutions were forced to close to utilize the online mode of learning on Wednesday after a flare-up of gang violence in Grange Hill caused classes to be dismissed early on Tuesday.
From a JTS perspective, it's really a sad day again in our country where persons who are unable to demonstrate the highest level of civility in interacting with each other have forced closure of schools. The information that I received is that the Peggy Barry, the Grange Hill High School, and the Grange Hill Primary School, those three schools utilize the online modality for today.
Leighton Johnson, president of the JTA.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, equipping Jamaica for success.
The World in a Minute. Political parties in Haiti have apparently rejected the U.S.-backed CARICOM plan to create a presidential college or council that would manage the transition of the new leadership of the country. The Presidential College would be responsible for selecting an interim prime minister and a council of ministers that would attempt to chart a new path for the Caribbean country that has been overrun by gangs. But ex-senator and presidential candidate Moise John Charles, who has teamed up with the former rebel leader Guy Philippe, told a local radio station that he would not participate in the plan. Philippe also seems to be rejecting the plan. He says no Haitian should accept any proposal from the international community. In a video posted Tuesday on social media, Philippe accused the community of being complicit with Haiti's elite and corrupt politicians and urged Haitians to take to the streets. The violence has closed schools and businesses and disrupted daily life across Haiti.
In the United States, a judge overseeing an election interference case against Donald Trump in Georgia has thrown out some criminal charges but left most in place. Judge Scott McAfee found 6 counts in the 41-count indictment against Trump, and some of his co-defendants, including Rudy Giuliani, lacked detail. Trump was among 19 people charged with conspiracy to overturn the state's 2020 election results.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, equipping Jamaica for success.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the government cannot listen only to the loudest stakeholders when apportioning state resources.
We have to be careful about allocating resources based on who makes the biggest presence in the media. Because then if you do that, you leave other people out.
And the finance minister says a reduction in GCT at this time would have a lesser impact on poorer Jamaicans.
Stakeholders question whether employers will be asked to assume some of the costs associated with the government's new unemployment insurance scheme.
Head of the Area 1 Police ACP Clifford Chambers says military forces have been brought in to help curb the gang conflict in Grange Hill, Westmoreland.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go off and buy this bag. So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good. Get up to $1 million off everything. With the Mitsubishi $1 million sale.
Price a splash, save cash, run, come catch the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Get up to $1 million off on your brand new Mitsubishi ASX or Pajero Sport with the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Plus 3 years warranty, 2 years free servicing, and 1 year free Amber Tracker. Follow us on social media at Mitsubishi JA for more info. Hurry up and come get this deal while stocks last. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Trauma Bay. Conditions apply.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The champions Jamaica, they suffered their first defeat of the season, going down by 5 wickets via the Duckworth-Lewis method against Guyana in the CG United Super 50 Cup at St. Paul's in St. Kitts today. And as I said, the first defeat of the season, but that could not prevent them taking the title. Batting first, the Jamaicans, who started as favourites, were bowled out for 71. Rashada Williams 31, Shedin Nation 20. They were the only 2 Jamaican players into double figures against Ashmini Munisar, who took 3 for 11 bowling for Guyana. Set 74 or 44 overs, Ghana raced to victory inside 18 overs. Mandy Mangru made 24 and Shemaine Campbell 21. Meanwhile, Windward Islands defeated the defending champions Barbados by 44 runs at Conakry, chasing 234 to win. Barbados made 189 for 9 in their 50 overs. Their captain Kaisia Knight made 64 and Alia Alain 49 not out. The Windwards made 233 for 9, of which Afi Fletcher got 72 and Namea Marcelin 30 against Shamila Connell 4 wickets. Over at Warner Park, Trinidad and Tobago beat the Leeward Islands by 4 wickets. Batting first, the Leeward Islands were bowled out for 151. Renice Boyce scored 48. Kenisha Isaac took 3 wickets for TNT. In reply, the TNT team made 152 for 6. Leanne Kirby made 48. Amanda Edwards bagged 3 wickets bowling for the Leewards. And the Jamaica Scorpions were 10-20 without loss at close on day 1 of their 4th round regional 4-day game against the West Indies Academy at Sabina Park. Earlier, Joshua Dorn slammed 83 on debut, and Jamaica's Jordan Johnson 6-1 to steer the West Indies Academy to 324 all-out, this in 84 overs. Kadeem Alain waiting with 59, Joshua James 36, and Rashawn Worrell 25. Derval Green ended with 3 for 48, and the Jay Shield 3 for 38. Abidjan Mansing chipped in with 2 for 69. Over at the Queen's Park Oval, host Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, they closed on 89 for 1 after bowling out the Windward Islands Volcanoes for 191. Kevon Otley made 47. Alec Athanase 56 and Sonny Lambries 36 led the Volcanoes batting against Anderson Phillip 5 for 37, Carrie Pear 3 for 31 and Jaden Seals 2 for 48. At Coolidge, Guyana Harpy Eagles reached a close on 231 for 5 against the Barbados Pride. Kevin Anderson slammed 87, Tevin Imlach 55 and Tajnarain Chandapol 40 for the champions. While at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes were 20 for 1 at close. They're chasing 273 all-out made by the combined campuses and colleges team for first innings points. Amari Goodrich 675. He led the CCC batting with support from Sadiq Henry 73 and Romario Greaves 58. The Jamaica Football Federation's election and voting congress is all set to go ahead as scheduled on Sunday at Royalton Hotel in Negril. Today, the Court of Appeal cleared the way for the election after dismissing an appeal by Beach Soccer Jamaica against the court's decision to allow the JFF elections to proceed before the April 23 start of a trial. Beach Soccer Jamaica had originally gotten a 28-day injunction that blocked the elections of the JFF, which was scheduled for January 14. However, the injunction was lifted on February 9 after the Supreme Court ruled that Beach Soccer Jamaica did not put forward a case that the court could rule on. Lawyers for the BSJ took the matter to the Court of Appeal today, and the ruling opened the way for the JFF to convene elections. Meanwhile, football's world governing body FIFA and the body that runs the region's football CONCACAF are reportedly sending 2 representatives each to oversee the elections. Vice President Raymond Anderson is challenging incumbent Michael Ricketts for local football's top job. And we move to some news now on athletics. World double sprint champion and superstar Noah Lyles says though he represents the United States in major competitions, he does so with a heavy heart. Lyles, who won 3 gold medals at last year's World Championships in Budapest, says being black in America, there's a lot to deal with, and it's hard to love a country that doesn't love you. The 26-year-old Lyles, who will be shooting for 4 gold medals at this summer's Paris Olympic Games, did not go into details during the interview on Fox News, but he says he considered retiring from track and field because of his experiences in the sport. Lyles says at times he feels conflicted because when he goes on the track, he gives his all every time for the USA. Last summer, after his brilliant performances in Budapest, Lyles told a press conference that NBA players have no right calling themselves world champions when they only play among themselves in the United States. A number of the league's biggest stars, including Kevin Durant, clapped back at the comment, but back-to-back MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, who by the way is not an American, he's Greek, he supported Lyles' comment. And finally, in sports at this time, former Edwin Allen standout Brian Lavelle says he's rounding into shape in time for the national championships in June. Lavelle revealed that he plans to contest both the 100 and 200 meters at the national championships. The 20-year-old contested his first 200 meters of the season at the GC Foster Classic at the weekend. He finished the third in 20.96 seconds.
It's really good so far, knowing that doing this trial, not really rushing anything, just using these events to prepare me and to get better each year. It's been good so far, can't complain. I've been trying to make my body adjust to the professional training and I think I'm doing well so far. Depending on what my coach wants me to do, and I'll just make it what she wants. I know my potential and I know I can make it in both, but not really putting pressure on myself, but just to enjoy it and be better than where I was last year.
That's Brian Lavelle, the former Edwin Allen High School star. At sports, we're going to be back with more at 6:05 this evening.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hyundai, the home of modern premium affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:31.
Love, care for, and protect our women and girls.
We are your family. We are your friends. Don't hurt us.
End violence against women and girls.
The temperature by the Office of the Prime Minister is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or 2 or 3, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Experience a luxurious adults-only getaway at Hideaway at Royalton Blue Waters. Reconnect with your loved ones and discover a world of all-inclusive indulgence surrounded by palm trees, a private islet, and endless sunsets. Save up to 40% off your next all-in luxury group vacation experience when you book 10 rooms or more from now until February 28, 2024. Simply dial 876-632-7401 and speak to your group sales agent today.
As a fitness guy, I was surprised by my chronic illness diagnosis. I thought working out harder would fix it, but it wasn't enough. Now, my prescription meds are a part of my routine.
When I got my diagnosis, I really felt down and stopped spending time with the people I love. Then I decided not to let any disease get the best of me. And I'm committed to taking my meds as prescribed. On time, every time.
No hesitation. Take your medication. A message from the NHF. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
Stop buying expensive toner cartridges. Global Ink is now selling new factory direct generic toners. Remove factory seals, install and print. Engineered to work first time, every time. Certified for use in HB and Brother printers. Worry-free, affordable printing for your peace of mind. Money saved is money earned. We deliver island-wide. 754-7444 or 1-888-NEED-INK. Never run out of toner again. Global Ink.
Time to pay your tax? Relax! You've got this with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes and get a 1-month payment holiday. New cardholders get first-year annual fee waived. Plus, you get up to 55 days interest-free and earn unlimited reward points every time you spend. So when you're ready to pay your tax, relax! You've got this. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card and enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply.
Calling all makeup gurus. Looking for a space to slay your clients' faces on Carnival morning? Our Hotel Kingston has just what you're looking for.
We have a truck on the road.
Call 876-968-6222 or email sales@ourhotelja.com for more details. Limited spaces are available, so don't miss out on your opportunity to get road ready in comfort.
On the road, you better leave me for a truck.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes.
How are you?
Doing quite well.
Good. Well, in our cover story this afternoon, the man of the moment, the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, he opened the budget debate for the fiscal year 2024-25, and he outlined a raft of spending priorities and new programs and initiatives for the Holness administration for the new financial year. Dr. Clark joins us now. Good afternoon, Dr. Clark.
Good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon, Siobhan. Thanks for having me.
Good. Now, what must be the big takeaway for Jamaicans from this budget of $1.3 million and given the spending priorities of the government? What is the big takeaway for Jamaicans?
That the government of Jamaica is leveraging the economic improvement of the country to solve the challenges facing everyday Jamaicans. That we are leveraging expenditure to invest in public capital investment projects to deliver improved services to the Jamaican people while protecting the vulnerable and using fiscal policy in innovative ways to provide relief to Jamaican citizens.
And in leveraging those economic gains, the balancing act that you have had to be engaged in, especially with a cry from within and outside of your government that those economic gains are not trickling down, people are not feeling them. How much of a balancing act you had to perform?
Well, so we have always been committed to pursuing policies that benefit the Jamaican people. And yesterday, what you saw was a redoubling of that effort to ensure that we walk and chew gum, as I said yesterday, that we continue to pursue, strengthen, deepen the economic stability that we have, but also at the same time to ensure that we leverage that economic stability in a way that benefits people directly. And that was the exercise that I have been engaged in and what was on demonstration in the presentation yesterday. It's not either or. It is both that must be achieved.
Dr. Clark, and I note in your budget presentation, you spent quite a bit of time talking about government procurement. It's not exactly a sexy topic that a lot of Jamaicans like to hear about, but I think you wanted to hammer the point home that much of the issues the government is facing and the people of Jamaica are facing is because of the bureaucratic issues. And I know you put forward an ambitious target. I think it's $1 trillion in capital expenditure over the next 5 years. Is that?
No. Over the next
correct.
5?
Split between $500 billion for central government capital expenditure and then obviously you have public bodies capital expenditure on top of that. But you also have the structured transactions such as PPPs that will require private investment in the delivery of public services. One example being a North Coast Road, which we are working on to widen from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, 60 kilometers from Sea Castles all the way to where the North Coast Highway meets the North Coast Road today. That's a PPP that will involve $650 million US of investment, or $100 billion. Yeah, so that's on top of an additional to the government's capex. So what we're saying is, to the macro stability that Jamaica enjoys today is delivering the opportunity for us to have the largest public investment program in any 5-year period. And by public investment program, I'm looking on central government capital expenditure as well as capital expenditure from structured private transaction. If you include public body capital expenditure, then we could have over $1 trillion. Now, when we have such a momentous opportunity to invest over this period of time in public parks, in roads, in courthouses, hospitals, schools, tax offices, garbage trucks, buses, etc., to improve standard of living, water, sewage, etc., to improve standard of living and benefit people, then our next consideration is going to be getting these projects through and implemented in an efficient way. And our procurement system would not have faced the test of such a large sort of public investment program over the time period that we've had this procurement system that we have. And so it is essential, as we gear up to do this, that we take a good look at it analytically. And I provided data yesterday on 14,000 procurements over an 18-month period. And, this is holding up sort of a mirror to the society, to our country, on how we are doing in procurement. And the results leave much to be desired. For example, when we look across those 14,000 procurements, it took on average 284 days to get an international competitive tender through. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And we've had the experience where you go 284 days and it fails. And it has to be done again. Mm-hmm. And the country will not be successful.
Let me ask you, though, Dr. Clark, you, as part of that effort, you have raised the threshold, yes, in a number of categories. And there's a concern I see from the opposition that, listen, yes, with the raising of the threshold, what mechanisms, what guardrails are we going to have to make sure that hanky-panky don't take place?
Right. So here we're talking, for the benefit of your viewers, there's a threshold below which single source procurement methodology, which is the most efficient source, is allowed. But it's a source, you go to a single source, and therefore there can be concern, am I getting value for money, and so forth. The first thing is that we've always had a single source threshold, and the amount of $1.5 million was set over a decade ago. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So simply preserving current value would require a very substantial adjustment on that 1.5 figure, because it has stayed constant over the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeking to do is to restore the value of it. 3 million, maybe a bit above what inflation only adjustment would require, but we need a whole number to make things easy, or round it to the nearest 0.5, but a whole number is probably easier. So, this is in the context, Cliff, of an adjustment not taking place in that threshold for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Hold it there for us, Dr. Clark. We're up on a break.
Yes, me get the last cheese. Taste the beat.
Brothers and sisters, at the end of Easter service, we have cheese. Taste the beat. But one day we're getting a bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Serve, sell me some bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Why, this looking nice with some tasty cheese. Taste the beat. Could I have some cheese, please? Taste the beat. Make we get on real bad with the tasty cheese, boy. Tasty beats with tasty cheese.
Home is where you put down your roots. So at Sagicor Bank, we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home easier. Get up to 100% financing, fast processing time, up to $100,000 cash back to assist with expenses, a competitive interest rate, plus an unsecured loan of up to $2 million to go solar at home, and a special rate on home insurance. Let's help you put down your roots. Call 888-SAGICOR to apply for your Sagicor Bank mortgage. Conditions apply.
Live exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661 to 2.
Take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Yeah. Get the BMI check, your blood pressure check, your blood sugar and cholesterol check. We're living well when we stay on top of our health. Know your numbers and take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Know your numbers and take control. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back. We are discussing the budget presentation of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke. That's a $1.3 trillion budget, and the budget debate was opened on Tuesday. Dr. Clarke joins us now to discuss further. Dr. Clarke, the matter of the unemployment insurance scheme that's being suggested, that has quite a few tongues wagging. And one of the major concerns that have been raised by business owners particularly, what does this mean for them in terms of will they be required to either A, fund it partially, or will there be other further adjustments made in terms of redundancy, the redundancy scheme which currently exists?
And let me deal with that in two parts. So before introducing this, we did a feasibility study, which is the right way to do things, so you know upfront what you're getting into. And the feasibility study showed that we could deliver this benefit at a cost of between 0.8% to 1.5% of salary. That's a cost that would have to be shared by employer-employee. As I said yesterday, given the plethora, the number of statutory deductions that already exist, NHT, NIS, HART, EdTax, we would be loath. We would, be very reticent. We would not want to introduce a fifth one. What we'd prefer to do is to consolidate the social taxes, the statutory deductions, into one social tax, and then have that delivered to the organizations. If we did that, the feasibility study also shows, not the feasibility study, work done alongside the feasibility study shows that we could introduce an additional benefit of unemployment insurance with only a small group of persons paying more than they currently pay today. That's an ideal, and ideal we would like to go after. But I have shared the worst case scenario of a 0.8 to 1.5 charge. Now, with respect to redundancy, redundancy is an entitlement under law. It's been in place in Jamaica for nearly 50 years. In the process of the stakeholder consultations that went alongside the feasibility study analysis, we had opportunity for the business groups to sit down with the Ministry of Finance, the PIOJ, academia, and also with the Confederation of Trade Unions and other unions. And we had a frank discussion about it, that argument, and the ILO, the International Labour Organization, was there as well, about the Redundancy Act and whether we really do need to retain redundancy if we have an unemployment insurance scheme. The drawbacks of redundancy for the optimal utilization of assets is well known, because at a time that a company really needs to be restructuring and can least afford to pay redundancy, it's when that becomes due and payable. And over Jamaica's history, we have seen where that acts as a impediment to actual restructuring. Assets lay dormant for longer than necessary. People remain unemployed for longer than necessary, and many go without redundancy anyway, because by the time act comes, because of the dynamics I described before, the company is out of funds. Now, on the union side, they have made a representation that this is a hard-won gain coming out of the 1970s, and one that they would be reticent to give up. But the conversations continue in an open, transparent, democratic way. And, we have some time to work out the legislative and administrative arrangements, and we'll use that time to have that conversation some more and see what happens. The government, would not be doing, or does not intend to do anything that, on a unilateral basis. So whatever direction we go in, we have to arrive at consensus across unions and businesses. This is with respect to the
Dr. Clark,
Redundancy Act. Sorry.
The wage bill, the public sector wage bill, $420 billion now, just over 12% of GDP, above what we would have liked at 9%, yes? And the focus, the worry now, are we, meaning Jamaica, are we going to see the marginal gains in productivity to justify this going forward so that we don't run into headwinds?
Yes, this is this should exercise the mind of all Jamaicans. First, let me say that, it was members of the public service who, over a decade, took the brunt of the fiscal adjustment that was required for Jamaica to emerge in a macroeconomically better position. And we must never forget that, and always be grateful to public servants for the cooperation that they showed over this period of time. And therefore, an adjustment that comes in the form of a restructuring that's informed, that's analytical, and evidence-based, is something that we view to be justified under the circumstances. However, we must recognize that we are at a position now that we have to be very, very careful how further adjustments are made. We have responded to the historical situation and done our best to put in place a salary scale that is much more competitive than it was before. And if we don't pay attention to the aggregate costs going forward, we will run the risk of crowding out much needed public investment for the country to develop, for standards of living to improve, and for us to have continued growth. And we'll crowd out social spending for the vulnerable. So it is, we can't have a country, Cliff, where the Minister of Finance is the only person interested in the aggregate cost overall. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And I am speaking to the country, through your program and saying, we need others, to be talking about aggregate costs. So the way in which the bargaining process works today, there's no union who comes and says, look, these are the things I'm interested in, A, B, and C, and this is the cost, $100. That's not the conversation. The conversation is just about ABC. And we, in the same way that many processes in the country have graduated over the last 10 years, our central bank is in a completely different central bank, and it's independent. The way in which our budget process works is completely different from 10 years ago, much more organized, based in law, etc. The ability of the government to just borrow and print money doesn't exist anymore. Yeah? And our procedures and arrangements have graduated. I think it will be good, but this can only be achieved democratically, not by edict. But by, moral suasion, by talking, conversation, dialogue, the way in which the bargaining process works also needs to graduate to another level to be consistent with current arrangements. And we can't just talk about, I want ABC. We have to say, okay, ABC costs 100. Yeah? And we look at costs and put them all together. A lot of where, conflict or what looks like conflict arises is just, asymmetry of focus. As Minister of Finance, it is my responsibility to make sure that on aggregate we are in a position where we can continue to deliver for 3 million Jamaicans. And we cannot at any point in time be in a position where we, use all the resources for the 100,000 of us in the public service. So we are going to have to step up, I think, in future rounds where, costs are transparently discussed. You put ABC down, we put a price on it, everybody knows what that price is. Because at the end of the day, what we have, one of the things I demonstrated yesterday is if we simply go along with who is more organized to advance their views, to have their views heard in the public domain, and so on, can easily lead to a misallocation of resources. Everybody's talking about the threshold. But it was last adjusted in 2018. Nobody remembered that the threshold for seniors, when I said nobody remembered, what I mean, it was not in the public space. Seniors are not as organized as working people. Nobody recalled in the public space that the threshold for the seniors was last adjusted in 2009, almost 10 years earlier. So, in an equitable and just space, who should get adjusted first? Someone who was adjusted 8 years ago, or someone who was adjusted 15 years ago? Yeah.
Let me ask you a question I've been grappling with on my program. That Jamaica is at a point where we were back about 25 years ago, when the contest, the battle, the push and the pull between politics and economics, where we went backwards, yes, after Gilbert, and we, as Carl Stone famously wrote,
no, 25 years ago was 2000. What period are you
35, sorry, not 25.
Years ago. Okay,
35, 1988, 1989. Yes, 35 years ago. Are you worried, given especially the outturn week before last Monday, that we're back there, gains economically at the macro level being made, or the politics is trumping the economics?
Yeah, I wouldn't use those language, but we have to be fully aware that this is a democratic space, one person, one vote. And as a result of that, we have to always ensure that the people benefit in anything that we do. And, I certainly believe that Jamaica has made incredible progress economically over the past 8 years, going into 9 years. And I think it's very important that that continues. We have demonstrated that when that happens, resources are available to solve the problems of the people and to solve the problems of the people in decisive ways that did not seem possible before. And, as such, I have full trust and confidence in the Jamaican people, Cliff. We will continue to make sure that the Jamaican people benefit, water and roads and garbage, transportation, in ways that improve their lives.
Dr. Clark, little time left, but the FinSAC archives, how soon will the Jamaican people have access to that? And is it going to be curated in some way, or is it just going to be essentially a full dump of all the information garnered so far?
So first question first, in terms of time, just a matter of months, I would say. I'm dependent on technical resources at the ministry to set up an independent website and to upload. That's not something that should take too long. In terms of the curation, it will, the The information will be in folders, and the folders will be named, and the names will be relevant to the files that are contained in a particular folder. So you'll be able to navigate the space because there's a folder system that tells you what is in a particular set of files. It's a lot of information, but it's and it's all the information that the Commission turned over. And they turned it over in electronic form.
Okay. That's how we're going to leave it. Dr. Nigel Clarke, the Finance Minister. That's all the time we have for the cover story this afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Time now for the headlines at 6.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
6 o'clock.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says the government cannot listen only to the loudest stakeholders when apportioning state resources. He was again defending the decision to limit the increase in the country's income tax threshold to $1.7 million.
We have to be careful about allocating resources based on who makes the biggest presence in the media. Because then if you do that, you forget, you leave other people out. So take on the threshold. Everybody's been talking about the threshold, and very justifiably so. The last time we adjusted it was 2018. But if we were to just talk about what's in the public domain and what people are talking about, we would have forgotten the fact that the threshold for the seniors was last adjusted 2009. So if you're going to adjust, who you should adjust first? The person who got adjusted in 2018 last, or the person who got adjusted in 2009?
The finance minister says it would be unfair if only 30% of the population benefited from this year's budget.
So the division is there are 30% of persons, meaning on the TAJ who are in the system, there are 30% of persons above the threshold and 70% below the threshold. So any resources that we have to allocate, equity and fairness demands that we don't just treat with the 30% and leave the 70% out. In what world would that be fair and just? And again, if you just listen to the noise, I don't want to call it noise, but if you just listen to the public chatter, you would forget about the 70%, but not this government. That's not who we are. Of course we listen to what's in the public, but we have to think about all Jamaica in the allocation of resources.
Meanwhile, the finance minister explained why the government did not further reduce the general consumption tax, the GCT. He says a reduction in GCT at this time would have a lesser impact on poorer Jamaicans.
The majority of the benefits on a dollar basis are skewed towards higher income groups. So it is not as impactful. It might have it could have a better feel good, but it's not as impactful. When we did it, we made the point that it was in that phase of abolition of taxes and removing of taxes, it was important that everybody could say that they got something. So that was the context in which we did it. It was not a welfare measure. And you can go back and look at my speech when I lowered the GCT by 1%.
Dr. Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area 1, Clifford Chambers, says the military forces have been brought in to help curb the gang conflict in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. A curfew was put in place in the area on Tuesday as police intensify their search for persons of interest implicated in the ongoing gang war between the King Valley and the emerging Ants Posse gangs. The violence has resulted in the killing of 5 people since Saturday.
Consequent on the flare up of crime, violence, gang criminal activities in the Grange Hill space, the police with support from the military has initiated several initiatives to contain and cauterize the issues whilst we target and focus on some communities and some persons of interest. We do have a curfew that is still in force, and at the same time, the security forces are conducting several road policing initiatives with support from specialized operation and the area team and the military, of course.
ACP Chambers says the schools which were closed due to the violence should reopen shortly. He also praised the Grange Hill residents for cooperating with law enforcement.
As it is right now, we are ready for school to be resumed as we continue our policing activities to control, cauterize, and maintain law and order. So we actually give the assurances that school can resume. The community is 100% in support of what we're doing, and we're getting good cooperation. Good information is being provided. We're getting some good results with regards to those persons we have an interest in. And incidentally, we're making some recoveries on the ground as we plummet the space with our initiative and our activities.
Clifford Chambers, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area 1. Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Leighton Johnson, is lamenting how the surge of violence in Westmoreland is impacting schools in the affected communities.
From a JTS perspective, it's really a sad day again in our country where persons who are unable to demonstrate the highest level of civility in interacting with each other have forced closure of schools. The information that I received is that the Peggy Barry, the Grange Hill High School, and the Grange Hill Primary School, those 3 schools utilize the online modality for today.
Mr. Johnson says the students and the teachers will also be given some level of counseling as the ongoing feud has created an atmosphere of anxiety for them.
We know that our students at this time are preparing for. We also know that the City and Guilds mock exams are due to be completed between this week and next week for the secondary students. And we know every moment with a teacher in the physical space has a positive impact with our children. And we would not want our students to be at a disadvantage in this regard. I can indicate to you that there is a high level of anxiety amongst our students and our teachers. And, we encourage our administrators, whatever mechanisms can be implemented to get counseling for the students and stakeholders within the schools, that those measures be implemented to reduce the negative psychological impact this situation is having on our stakeholders.
Leighton Johnson, President of the JTA. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Get up to $1 million off everything. With the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Price a slash save cash run, come catch the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Get up to $1 million off on your brand new Mitsubishi ASX or for Hero Sport with the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Plus 3 years warranty, 2 years free servicing, and 1 year free Amber Tracker. Follow us on social media at Mitsubishi JA for more info. Hurry up and come get this deal while stocks last. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Shorma Bay. Conditions apply.
Time to pay your tax? Relax! You've got this with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes and get a 1-month payment holiday. New cardholders get first-year annual fee waived. Plus, you get up to 55 days interest-free and earn unlimited reward points every time you spend. So when you're ready to pay your tax, relax! You've got this. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card and enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply.
Go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Supercenter, everything for your home and more.
And we mean everything, not just houseware and appliances. At Zan Supercenter, we have furniture too. Furniture for your living room, dining room, bedroom, kitchen, and more. Low on cash? At Zan Supercenter, we have layaway plans. Don't delay. Come in today.
Zan Supercenter, we're gonna make you smile. Zan Supercenter, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica suffered their first defeat of the CG United Women's Super 50 competition today. They went down by 5 wickets to Guyana under the Duckworth-Lewis method, but it couldn't prevent them from being crowned champions. Batting first, the Jamaicans, who started as favourites, were bowled out for 71. Rashada Williams, 31, and Chiddi Nation, 20, were the only two Jamaican players into double figures. Ashmini Munisar bagged a 3 for 11, set a target of 74 off 44 overs. Guyana raced to victory inside 18 overs. Mandy Mangru made 24 and Shermaine Campbell 21. Final scores: Jamaica 71, Guyana 74 for 5. In the meantime, the Windward Islands defeated the defending champions Barbados by 44 runs. The game was played at Connery. Chasing 234 to win, the Bajans made 189 for 9 in their 50 overs. Captain Casey Knight made 64 and Alia Alain 49 not out. Earlier, the Windwards made 233 for 9. Afi Fletcher weighed in with 72 and Namia Marceline 30. Shamila Connell bagged the 4 wickets bowling for Barbados. Over at Warner Park, Trinidad and Tobago beat the Leeward Islands by 4 wickets. Batting first, the Leewards were bowled out for 151. Release Boyce top scored with 48. Kenisha Isaac took 3 wickets. In response, Trinidad and Tobago made 152 for 6. Leanne Kirby got 48. Amanda Edwards bagged 3 wickets, bowling for the Leewards. The Jamaica Scorpions were 20 without loss at close on day number 1 of their 4th round regional 4-day game against the West Indies Academy at Savannah Park. Earlier, Joshua Dorn slammed 83 on debut, and Jamaica's Jordan Johnson 61 to steer the West Indies Academy to 324 all-out in 82 overs. Kadeem Alain weighed in with a 59, Joshua James a 36, and Rashawn Worrell 25. Derval Green ended with 3 for 48 under Jay Shield 3 for 38, while Abidjan Mansing claimed the 2 for 69. At the Queen's Park Oval, host Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, they closed on 89 for 1, and this after bowling out the Windward Islands Volcanoes for 191. Kevin Otley made 47. Alec Athanase of 56 and Sunil Ambris 36 led the Volcanoes batting against Anderson Phillip 5 for 37, Carrie Pear 3 for 31, and Jaden Seals he bagged the 2 for 48. While over at Coolidge, Guyana Harpy Eagles, they reached a close on 231 for 5 against Barbados Pride. Kevin Anderson slammed 87, Tevin Imlak 55, and Tajinarain Chandapol 40. While at the Sir Frank Warren Memorial Ground, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes were 20 for 1 at close. They were applying to 273 all-out made by the combined campuses and colleges team. Amari Goodrich 75 led the CCC batting with support from Sadiq Henry 73 and Romario Greaves 58. The Jamaica Football Federation's election and voting congress is all set to go ahead as scheduled on Sunday at the Royalton Hotel in Negril. Today, the Court of Appeal cleared the way for the election after dismissing an appeal by Beat Soccer Jamaica against the court's decision to allow the JFF elections to proceed before the April 23 start of a trial. Beat Soccer Jamaica had originally gotten a 28-day injunction that blocked the elections of the JFF, which was originally scheduled for January 14. However, the injunction was lifted on February 9 after the Supreme Court ruled that Beach Soccer Jamaica did not put forward a case that they could rule on. Lawyers for the BSJ took the matter to the Court of Appeal, with today's ruling opening the way for the JFF to convene elections. Meanwhile, football's world governing body FIFA and the body that runs the region's football CONCACAF are reportedly sending 2 representatives each to oversee the elections. Vice President Raymond Anderson is challenging the incumbent Michael Ricketts for local football's top job. And talking about Michael Ricketts, he has expressed sadness at the passing of Dr. Charlie Roberts. Dr. Roberts was a vital member of the support staff for Jamaica's team, which qualified historically for the FIFA World Cup in 1998, providing physiotherapy. Ricketts says Dr. Roberts was always on call, ensuring that the players returned to the field soon after injuries.
This is a gentleman who had given human service to the sport of football. He was such a pleasant person, always carrying a smile, was always there for us during our campaign leading up to the 98 World Cup qualifiers and afterward. And even his wife, who would have also played a significant role in the whole development process at the JFF. And we will always be remembered. His legacy will still live on, having contributed significantly to the growth and development of the sport of football.
JFF President Michael Ricketts. World double sprint champion and superstar Noah Lyles says though he represents the United States in major competitions, he does so with a heavy heart. Lyles, who won 3 gold medals at last year's World Championships in Budapest, says being black in America, there's a lot to deal with, and it's hard to love a country that doesn't love you. The 26-year-old Lyles will be shooting for 4 gold medals at this summer's Paris Olympic Games. Did not go into details during the interview on Fox News, but he says he considered leaving track and field because of his experiences in the sport. Lyles says at times he feels conflicted because when he goes on the track, he gives his all every time for the USA. Last summer, after his brilliant performances in Budapest, Lyles told a press conference that NBA players have no right calling themselves world champions when they only play among themselves in the United States. A number of the league's biggest stars, including KD, Kevin Durant, clapped back at the comment, but back-to-back MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo supported Lyles' comments. Former Eden Allen standout Brian Lavelle says he's rounding into shape in time for the national championships in June. Lavelle revealed that he plans to contest the sprints, 100 and 200 meters at the national championship. The 20-year-old contested his first 200 meters for the season after the recent GC Foster Classic, finishing third in 20.96 seconds.
Still have good so far, knowing that doing his trials, not really rushing anything, just using these events to prepare me and to get better each year. It's been good so far, can't complain. Been trying to make my body adjust to the professional training and I think I'm doing well so far. Depending on what my coach wants me to do and I'll just make it what she wants. I know my potential and I know I can make it in both, but not really putting pressure on myself, but just to enjoy it and be better than where I was last year.
That's Brian Lavelle. Finally, in sports at this time, over 70 stakeholders from the Caribbean are in Jamaica for the 3-day regional Paralympic training camp. Classification and technical courses for athletics and Boshi would start today. The educational and practical sessions have been sponsored by the International Paralympic Committee, the IPC, the global governing body for parasport. President of the Jamaica Paralympic Association, Chris Samuda, says his administration is committed to building capacity.
We will have technical persons coming from the International Paralympic Committee to conduct the courses, and the courses will be for athletes, coaches, referees, and what we call classifiers. So it is the first time that Jamaica is hosting a forum that will involve a lot of our Caribbean stakeholders. And we are certainly very proud to do so because we have a Caribbean perspective and we want to build capacity in the Caribbean. Quite a few athletes will be coming from the Caribbean region.
Samuda says para-athletes will also get an opportunity to qualify for global meets.
After the course concludes, we'll be having participation in Velocity Fest, which is, of course, a meet run by Bruce James. And it is a sanctioned meet by the International Paralympic Committee. So athletes will have an opportunity to do the qualifying times and qualifying distances in order to not only matriculate to the Paralympic Games, but also there's the World Championship Games in May as well. So we're very proud. It's the first time, and we certainly hope that it will be something that we will host every 2 years.
That's Chris Samuda. We did say finally, but let's take one more. Over 1,000 swimmers are registered for the two-day Mayberry High School's Tertiary Institutions Prep and Primary Championships at the Stadium Pool starting on Friday. The high school and tertiary swimmers will compete on Friday, while the prep and primary athletes will swim on Saturday. Immaculate Conception High, the defending girls champions, Wolmers, are likewise in the boys. Meanwhile, Hill Academy are the title holders for both the boys and girls titles in the prep and primary schools categories. Meet Director Joseph Reynolds says patrons will get an example of what to expect from the swimmers who will represent Jamaica at the Carifta Championships later this month.
We look forward to these championships as these are the type of meets that will develop our future national swimmers. The persons who will be representing Jamaica at the Carifta Swimming Championships will be in full flight, or I should say in full swim, at this meet. One person I must mention is the only person in the prep primary division who will be swimming on Saturday, Kyle Lawson of St. Hugh's Preparatory School. She will be there to do her thing on Saturday. So we look forward to this championship and expect it to be a memorable one.
Joseph Reynolds at Sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
We're celebrating 79 years of quality and style at the Ashley Furniture Home Store. We're giving you, our valued customers, 79 discounted styles with up to 50% off dining, lounge, and bedroom pieces. Plus, get 30% off Dacmore pieces with the purchase of an Atlantic Queen or King bed frame. Get a free oversized chair with the purchase of a Belzani 2-piece lounge set. Financing is available. The Ashley Furniture Home Store. This is home. Offers end March 31. Conditions apply.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Easy Chakama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61114. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
The Leaders Conference of Choice is back on site at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel and online. Register now for Middle Managers Leadership Conference. Call 876-978-60012 or visit www.makeyourmarkgroup.com. Sponsored by Make Your Mark Group, Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, JPS, Intelligent Multimedia Limited, Monographic Printers, Main Event Entertainment Group, Nationwide News Network, and Visual Tech Solutions. Middle Managers Conference, May 1 to 2, 2024. Sign up at www.makeyourmarkgroup.com.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again. Live here halfway through the Olympic final.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Nobly Williams-Mills coming, the glory flapping, her arms are waving, and Nobly Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's gold.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. It's that time of the evening. Yes, I'm Robianne Williams. A special one going to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for always tuning in. We ask you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. It's the talk, it's the talk from yesterday. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says this year's budget was crafted to ensure the people benefit from the hard-won macroeconomic gains. Dr. Clark told the nation yesterday that the Holness administration is listening to the concerns of the Jamaican people as he opened the 2024-2025 budget debate in the House of Representatives.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to use this opportunity to speak directly to my constituent who gave me such good advice, as well as to all Jamaicans. We hear you loud and clear. This government, headed by the most honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, is a listening government. Madam Speaker, we listen to the people. And let me say very clearly that what is important to you is also very important to us.
Dr. Nigel Clark, Finance Minister. So, he mentioned a lot of good things. The increase in the income tax threshold from 1.5 million to 1.7 million. The increase to the relief granted to pensioners and the elderly, looking out for the vulnerable, of up to $250,000. 20,000 tax reverse credit. Yep, the reverse credit will see Jamaicans who earn $3 million or less annually being able to receive a $20,000 cash payment each fiscal year. And also this one, I'm sure many are happy about this one, abolishing the need for a guarantor to obtain a loan from the Students' Loan Bureau, SLB. And of course, no new taxes for the 7th consecutive fiscal year. Indeed. I know the business community is enjoying some of these, nuggets. In Public Opinion, we're asking, what was the standout announcement from Dr. Nigel Clark's budget presentation? And we'll go straight ahead to the comments on our social media platform. We'll start on X. Graham Jervis says he's happy about the pensioners and unemployment insurance and the reduction of procurement red tape. Tevin Johnson says the removal of guarantor at SLB. Paper Soda JA says the removal of guarantors for student loan. Anyone who wants to study can go heart-free. And he's saying, let's learn and earn. No more excuses, but them a try keep with dung. Teriana says the budget from Dr. Clark, as usual, was really good. And it was a responsible one. Many standouts, but the removal of taxes to armor security vehicles is a really big deal. And Teriana continues to say, I don't think people even realize how impressive and important this is. Listen, Mr. Ralph Figure, says, can't believe they raised everything possible since they raised my minimum wage, only to use a lot of pretty terms to tell me that I'll be suffering worse than the last economic year. Interesting one there. Lizzie Levy says procurement reform without a doubt. It will mean more projects coming in faster. Dion Mitchell says, overall, it was an excellent, creative, structured, and well-articulated presentation. I particularly liked and appreciated the pension package. Other standouts for Dion Mitchell, he's saying there are no guarantors for SLB, reverse tax credit, unemployment insurance scheme, and the removal of GCT from raw material. Omar Sala says, for the most outstanding point was the facilitating of resources to make the FinSAC report public. We need to know the real story regarding FinSAC. Okay. Betty James says, as a person who experienced increased taxation every single year under the previous administration, no new tax stands out for me. Indeed. The Dreamer says the unemployment insurance, SLB, and the 24-hour party zones. Yep, he did say something about the 24-hour party zones. He's saying that certain artists must be happy. We know where that's coming from. All right, let me get to the comments on our Instagram platform real quick. Liana says the increased threshold for pensioners, it's a shame how senior citizens and disabled are treated in the country, and it's a great initiative. This girl, Lolly, says the custom threshold, and we heard about that one from last year, yes, and now it's coming into effect. Carl Rico says no new taxes. Hewlett says everything to her is outstanding. Let me see if I can get in some more. Kevin Gale says the thing that stood out for me and in a negative way was his announcement to remove GCT from importation of raw food items. Kevin is saying which will see the dumping of GMO garbage in the country and the killing off of our farmers. That's what Kevin Gale is saying. And they will not be able to compete with those cheaper products from abroad. And Kevin Gale is saying that this government cares nothing about the people. Well, we like differentiating views, so we welcome them. It's public opinion. We're asking, what was the standout announcement from Dr. Nigel Clarke's budget presentation? Let me see what going on over on the YouTube channel. Let me see if I can get in. Rose Chin removal of guarantor for SLB makes for a more educated population. Indeed. Orlando Peters says the entire budget was masterfully crafted and engineered, the best to date. I see. Roger Miller, relief for pensioners, increase in income tax threshold, no new taxes, no guarantor for SLB, unemployment insurance, optimization of the procurement process, and the publishing of the FinSAC archives. For Carleen Smith, she's saying it was a mixture of accomplishments and disappointments. Right? Yes, that's coming from Carleen Smith. All right, let me see if I can get in some more. All right, let me go to our Facebook platform. I think we had some over there. But let me keep on scrolling. If you're just joining us, we're inside the Court of Public Opinion. We're asking you, what was the standout announcement? Yeah? From Dr. Nigel Clarke's presentation in the House of Parliament yesterday, the budget presentation. Iona Davis says, no new tax. Precious Soul says, I like everything about it. Curtis Latibaudier, everything. Me like everything about the budget with a bugger exclamation mark coming from Curtis Latibaudier. All right. Thank you so much. D-Muse. D-Muse says elderly person. Oh, the elderly pension break. Indeed. Let me see if I can go through some of the comments on our Facebook platform. Philip Jackson, I see you questioning me, asking me about the Facebook comments, but I'll get right to them right away. Neil Walters says, overall, it was a very good budget. However, like the idea of no guarantor for student loan, no one can say they can't afford to now go to university. Michael Henry says the standout disappointment was only adding 200K to the income tax threshold. 2 million, I think, would have been reasonable. Yes. And all who want to talk about inflation, it's killing my pockets daily. I think it's killing everybody's pockets. All right. Philip Jackson says the lesson he gave and put the contents of what he can and cannot do into context while balancing fiscal responsibility and giving back to the people so we don't ruin and destabilize the economy. All right. Anthony Sheikh says a few things grabbed me, like the unemployment insurance, the removal of student loan guarantors. His explanation as to how the government at this time cannot go beyond the 1.7 and the pensioners threshold, although I don't understand it at this time. And many people, sometimes listening to the budget, reading, many people don't understand, but it's for us to break it down and give you the analysis. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. Remember, you do have the option of agreeing and or disagreeing. We'll be talking more about Dr. Nigel Clarke's budget presentation. And The budget presentations will continue come next week. That's all the time we have for Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today. Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Starting with news in the United States, the U.S. House of Representatives has passed a landmark bill that could see TikTok banned in America. It would give the social media giant's Chinese parent company ByteDance 6 months to sell its controlling stake, or the app will be blocked in the U.S. While the bill passed overwhelmingly in a bipartisan vote, it still needs to clear the Senate and be signed by the president to become law. Lawmakers have long held concerns about China's influence over TikTok. TikTok is owned by Chinese company ByteDance, which is subject to a national security law requiring it to share data with Chinese officials. Google has confirmed it is restricting the types of election-related questions users can ask its artificial intelligence AI chatbot Gemini. In a blog post, it said the policy had been rolled out in India, which will hold elections starting in April. It comes as the firm aims to avoid more controversy over AI technology. Gemini is essentially Google's version of the viral chatbot ChatGPT. It can answer questions in text form, and it can also generate pictures. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 155 Jamaican dollars and 51 cents to buy the US dollar. It cost 200 Jamaican dollars and 33 cents to buy 1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 25 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Good evening.
JampJA.org. Mind the business JA with Jump Online. Are your business? Fi keep your government in line.
Use the MP tracker. Fi watch how them a move. The account a meter help them improve.
Take action.
Use the Jump tool.
Track your MP cause they work for you. Mind your business JA with Jump Online.
Let's monitor government at JampJA.org. Funded by the European Union and the UK International Development.
Time to pay your tax? Relax! You've got this with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes and get a 1-month payment holiday. New cardholders get first-year annual fee waived. Plus, you get up to 55 days interest-free and earn unlimited reward points every time you spend. So when you're ready to pay your tax, relax! You've got this. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card and enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so 1 less sugary drink at my school may mean 1 friend less, or 2 or 3, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really Clip You Stalking?
Tune in, turn up the volume and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Taboo topics,
Boy Things After Dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boy Things After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boy Things After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boy Things After Dark.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through an Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noveline Williams-Mills coming, McCrory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noveline Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment! Let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Become Team Jamaica certified to shape the future of Jamaica's tourism sector. TPDCO's Team Jamaica, shaping ambassadors for life.
The time by TPDCO's Team Jamaica training program is
6:43. Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Well, we're inside the nation's business now, and Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Force Development and Logistics, Dr. Kevin Blake, is a new commissioner. He'll take over from Major General Anthony Anderson next Tuesday, March 19. As you hear in this report from Mahiri Stewart, Dr. Kevin Blake started his career in the constabulary force 22 years ago, and he quickly moved up the ranks.
Dr. Kevin Blake is set to be Jamaica's 15th police commissioner since 1973. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang made the announcement at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
This morning, I received a copy of a letter appointing Dr. Kevin Blake as the new police commissioner, effective March 19, 2024. Means the current commissioner's terms of contract ends on Monday the 18th.
But who is Dr. Blake? Kevin Kenyon Allen Blake holds a PhD with high commendation in sustainable development, a Master of Science in Computer-Based Management Information Systems, and a bachelor's degree with honors in Computer Science and Mathematics. They were all obtained at the University of the West Indies, Mona, where he was also awarded for research excellence in 2017. Blake started his working life at the Attorney General's Department as a registry clerk in 1991. While studying for his bachelor's degree, he worked for a number of years as a system administrator in the computer center at the National Commercial Bank, NCB. There, he supervised all technical staff in the bank's 44 branches. He left NCB and joined Derby Corporation Limited as a technical director. From there, he went to software development at Decision Support Systems and later started doing freelance software development. Blake spent a year doing freelance work before he entered the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, in 2002. In the JCF, he quickly moved up the ranks. He was assigned to the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, in 2004, where he remained for a decade. At NIB, he was promoted to Director of the Jamaica Intelligence Model, where he managed the development of the new intelligence model for the JCF. This included the transition from the National Firearms and Drugs Intelligence Center to the National Intelligence Bureau. Blake also oversaw the design, implementation, and maintenance of database applications and information technology infrastructure for the NIB. He was promoted to Deputy Superintendent of Police in 2009. He then took on the role of Project Manager at the NIB, where he was responsible for the island-wide rollout of the Crime and Intelligence Management System. In 2010, Blake was promoted to Senior Superintendent of Police. He was then put in charge of the NIB when Owen Ellington was appointed Police Commissioner. While in that post, he was instrumental in transforming the force into an intelligence-led organization. In 2013, he was promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police, serving at various branches, including PSTEB, the Planning, Research and Development Branch, and the Operations Branch. He was also in charge of Areas 3 and 4. Blake went on to serve as the Director for the Intelligence Focus Group, or Operation Musketeer, at the Counter-Narcotics and Major Crimes Task Force, more commonly referred to at the time as Operation Kingfish. There, Blake developed a tool based on a mathematical theory and applied it in a major drugs for guns operation that was hugely successful in dismantling a criminal network. This was the first ever practical application of such theory in a real law enforcement operation. In 2017, he earned his PhD. 3 years later, in 2020, he was promoted to the rank of Deputy Commissioner of Police and placed in charge of the Force Development and Logistics portfolio. In this post, he played a significant role in modernizing the JCF. Dr. Blake was instrumental in the establishment of the technology branch and the technological governance structure for the JCF. He led the restructuring of the JCF's logistics management capability and oversaw the renovation and building of over 170 police facilities across the island. Dr. Blake attained certification in several specialized areas relevant to policing. This includes strategic command, strategy and international security, major event security management, and Caribbean defense and security. He served as co-chair of the Regional Information Technology Subcommittee and the CARICOM Technical Working Group on Law Enforcement Information Sharing. He was also a co-investigator for 2 joint international research projects and a team member on another called the Hit Rate Indicator Projects. All eyes will now be on the man taking the reins from Major General Anderson. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Mahiri. Meanwhile, the opposition People's National Party is congratulating Dr. Kevin Blake on his appointment. In a statement today, the shadow spokesman on citizen security, Senator Peter Bunting, said the PNP will not second-guess the selection.
However, Mr. Bunting says the opposition will be carefully observing Dr. Blake's performance in the months to come. Senator Bunting adds that the JCF under Dr. Blake's leadership must act impartially and professionally.
We therefore caution the new commissioner not to involve the JCF in public advocacy for matters that the Constitution reserves for Parliament and on which there is no political consensus. As we approach an election season, we also remind the Commissioner that it becomes especially important that the JCF behave and be seen as an impartial and professional force whose operations support the democratic process rather than one party or another's partisan interests.
That's Senator Peter Bunting. He's the opposition spokesman on citizen security. Well, joining us to discuss this matter further is the security consultant and former Deputy Commissioner of Police himself, Mark Shields, and criminologist Dr. Jason McKay. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Starting with you, Dr. McKay, your reaction to Kevin Blake receiving the top job.
Well, I felt that all 4 deputies would have been, any one of the 4 would have been great. And I think the Dr. Blake getting it is a great contribution, that he will make a great contribution to the force. And I think he's proved in his tenure so far that he's very, very competent. He does well at everything he does, and he will, which is most important to me, be able to motivate the membership to do the work that is needed to be done.
Mark Shields, your perspective, your assessment of him?
Well, I think it was interesting. By the way, good evening.
Good evening.
It was interesting listening just to his career, because I was always pretty impressed having worked with him and seen how he's risen through the ranks since. But if you look at that list of experiences he's had over that period of time, just 22 years within the police service and rising to the rank of commissioner, it's extremely impressive. And I think the thing that sticks out for me most is that he has the right balance, because Kevin has experience in operations. He's definitely a strategic planner. He was involved in intelligence for many years, and of course he's got that technological background as well. Extremely bright man. And when you put that together with effective leadership skills, I think we have the makings of a very good Commissioner of Police to see us through to the next 4 to 5 years. He's a relatively young man, as I said, so I think that there isn't any reason at all why he shouldn't go from strength to strength. I think the other good thing is that we have a Commissioner of Police who is born and bred within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Now, we've always agreed that that's the right thing to do, but I think that when you look at Kevin's experience, not only during the time that he was in the police service, but also his work within the private sector leading up to joining the JCF in 2002, that it's a pretty impressive all-rounded record. So I think it's an excellent appointment.
Considering his background, as you pointed out, he has a PhD in sustainable development, a master's in science, and as well as degrees in computer science and mathematics. Is that a signal from the Police Service Commission as to the direction they'd like to take the police force?
I think it certainly is, but I think that we have to say that we're continuing with a process of transformation and modernisation, and there's no doubt at all that Major General Anthony Addison, together with others, including Kevin Blake, have been instrumental in using technology in the last few years, and we've seen many of the inspirational ideas in terms of how we use intelligence in policing. It was mentioned that Kevin Blake in relation to the intelligence side of solving serious crime. And since then, we've had a number of instances and innovations using technology. So I think you'll see that advance now, because with Kevin's background, he understands technology. He understands where he can take the organisation. So I think that this path will actually accelerate, because we're not going to go back to an organisation where we use large ledgers and books and station diaries. I think that we'll see an acceleration of technology throughout the service. As long as he gets the financial support from the ministry, I think they're going to go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Jason Mackay, let me turn to you for a moment. If there's a criticism I've heard since we first reported that it would be Kevin Blake, the criticism I've heard most often is that he doesn't have much operational experience on the ground. Yes, that one person described him as a bookworm, a bookie, who really didn't do hard underground policing work. Is that justified or not?
No, he worked in operations, so you couldn't say that. He had a period of his service in operations, but remember, in 22 years, he's worked in a variety of areas. So some are going, you can only divide 22 years into so much different segments. He has been in research and development, he's been in administration, he's been in intelligence, and he's been in operations. That's why he's so exceptional, because he has experience in all the areas. It's not limited to only one.
Mm-hmm. What say you on that, Mark? You worked with him.
Well, I agree 100%. With that, we look at his career. Certainly, I don't think he's lacking in the operations department. Having worked with him myself, I worked with him obviously in Jamaica, but we travelled abroad to the United States a couple of times as well, when we were looking at ways in which we could try to stop the flow of firearms into Jamaica from the United States. We worked with our colleagues abroad, and I think he always represented Jamaica extremely well when we travelled. He was always very articulate. He has good communication skills. I really do not see any huge weaknesses. I think the most important thing as well, I think that the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force will support him because of his background, because of where he has been, and as I said, he's a homegrown commissioner, and I think they'll look forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the priority, of course, has to be getting crime under control, bringing down the murder rate. Yeah, that has got to be his number one priority.
That indeed has got to be number one priority, and I think closely followed by that, along, of course, with the continued transformation of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. But also, I think that the advent of PSTEB, the idea is, and I think we're beginning to see signs of that, we need to take back control of the streets, because the amount of disorder and just general lack of care for what's going on out there is pretty bad. And I think that means that the boots on the ground, the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, have a lot to do to get that order back. Because wherever I go, and I'm sure it's the same for you, people talk about really bad driving, people jumping red traffic lights, and a sort of total disregard for some basic laws. And that's where we start before we get up to the whole escalation of dealing with murders, which is the number one priority. But we have to have this sense of order and get rid of disorder and behave in a way that we would if we're in any other country. And Jamaicans do that. They go abroad, they behave in a certain way and they obey laws. Here, they come back or they stay here, and we see this general disorder. And I think Kevin Blake knows that, having spoken to him years ago. That's why PSTEB is there. It's a relatively fast-acting, motor-style driving organisation that gets to the scene of an incident, that stops motorists, and we've seen that. And I think that needs to be expanded, and I believe that he will do that.
Dr. Mackay, what do you make of that interesting caution statement by Mr. Bunting, essentially telling the incoming commissioner to avoid commenting on certain matters that he believes should be left to the Constitution and Parliament?
I mean, I would need a little bit more detail on what exactly he was referring to. I think as the Commissioner of Police, he is the one responsible for all of the other members who are fighting the crime, and a lot of times the rules and the laws, because they haven't been modified or they're not suitable for an environment that is virtually at war, that there are things that it makes it very, very difficult for the members to accomplish what is required of them. So I think it is reasonable that the Commissioner of Police would speak about laws and policies that need to be changed. That includes constitutional change.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Mark Shields, Jason Mackay, for giving us the perspective. And we look forward to the tenure of Dr. Kevin Blake as the new Commissioner of Police. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay.
Good. This is Nationwide at 5.
Cool loans, I'll lend you 500 grand. We buy appliances and electrons. All flexible, payment plan. Yeah, man, a hot cash. Hot. I hope to 500 grand. Yeah, man, a hot cash. $500,000 that make you rich fast. 100 grand we buy steel and black. 200 for furniture, laptop. 200 for keep birthday bash. Yeah, money loan hot. Get a cool loan to purchase all your electronics, furnitures, and appliances at coolmarket.com.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Labor market dilemma. The March 1, 2024 edition of the Financial Gleaner carried a front page picture of Wisynco Group Limited Chairman William Mahfood, along with the caption, "We are hiring." In the page 4 story, the St. Catherine-based producer and distributor of beverage brands said it is launching a massive recruitment drive for 600 workers to man its US $23 million investment in new production capacity. Ordinarily, this would be good news for any economy. In Jamaica's case, it is a two-edged sword. The upside is obvious. More employment for job seekers in a country that traditionally has struggled to provide its citizens with a viable lifestyle and a good standard of living. There are, however, a couple of downsides. The latest figures released by Statin, Statistical Institute of Jamaica, showed the unemployment rate declined to a historic low 4.2%. In the November 8, 2023 Business Observer, Richard Pandui, CEO of Separate Limited, signaled the need for migrant labor to fill job openings in Jamaica. There's an even bigger problem than the tightening labor market. Jamaica traditionally has experienced low labor productivity compared to its trading partners. The data reveals that from 1951 to 1975, labor productivity growth averaged an impressive 5.3% annually. In contrast, for the next 42 years, 1976 to 2017, average labor productivity growth was negative 0.6% annually. Between 2018 and 2022, productivity in the island experienced an average 0.8% dip for each year. A few months ago, the governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Biles, inarticulately suggested that employers should restrain themselves from giving their workers large wage increases in order to return the productivity ratio to positive. This caused a firestorm of criticism from many quarters, including President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Metri Siaga, who labeled the governor's comment insensitive. The tightening job market and declining productivity, made worse by wage adjustments, is putting pressure on inflation. Consequently, BOJ's inflation target of 4.0 to 6.0% for this year is not expected to be realized until June 2025. In seeking solutions, it is useful to remember that labor productivity is not only achieved by continuing to pay workers slave wages. Cutting waste, investing in technology, retraining workers, and better, more motivating management are just 4 alternatives that should be tried. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Home is where you put down your roots. So at Sagicor Bank, we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home easier. Get up to 100% financing, fast processing time, up to $100,000 cash back to assist with expenses, a competitive interest rate, plus an unsecured loan of up to $2 million to go solar at home, and a special rate on home insurance. Let's help you put down your roots. Call 888 Sagicor to apply for your Sagicor Bank mortgage. Conditions apply.
.05, welcome back, and we turn now to Haiti, our CARICOM neighbor, where the deployment of 1,000 Kenyan police officers to the island has hit a pause. That's according to Kenyan officials on Tuesday. The force that was expected to help quell gang-fueled lawlessness in Haiti is on hold until a new government is formed in the Caribbean nation.
Kenya had agreed to send a security contingent to Haiti, but that deal had been breached. But let me read that again. But that deal had been reached with Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who on Monday night agreed to resign once a new transitional government is formed. Henry had traveled to Kenya to make final arrangements for the East African country to deploy officers to Haiti to help quell the violence.
The mission was sanctioned by the United Nations and largely financed by the United States, which on Monday pledged to provide more aid. The mission had already been delayed by a Kenyan court ruling, but the agreement that Mr. Henry and Kenya signed was meant to eliminate the last remaining legal obstacle so the deployment could proceed. France 24 English has more in this report.
Kenya's President William Ruto has insisted that his country will still eventually lead a UN-backed multinational police force to help rein in rampant gang violence in the Caribbean nation of Haiti. The commitment is despite the delay of the deployment following the resignation of the Haitian Prime Minister this week. Kenya later acknowledged that Ariel Henry's resignation altered the situation on the ground, as there's no holding government to work with the mission just yet. Our Kenyan correspondent Olivia Bizo tells us more.
It's the latest chapter in the roller coaster saga. Kenya has said it will not send its security force to Haiti until a new government has been formed. Kenya's President William Ruto had initially made a deal to send 1,000 police officers to the Caribbean nation to help tackle violence over there. But that deal was made with Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who on Monday said he would resign. Earlier today, we spoke to an expert who said that the mission will still go ahead, but just later than expected.
That was an agreement between, states as opposed to individuals. So we expect that the deployment will proceed at some point. But to expect a transition first before deployment, I think is going to be a wishful thought, in part because the circumstances on the ground are not even good enough to allow for a peaceful transition. And that is why some kind of a multinational force that is neutral is going to be needed.
So when did this whole idea of sending Kenyan police officers to the other side of the world, to Haiti, to help tackle gang violence and insecurity over there begin? Well, Haiti's government appealed for international support 2 years ago, and then in July last year, Kenya's President William Ruto offered his support by sending 1,000 Kenyan police officers to the Caribbean country. And that offer was approved by the UN Security Council a few months later in October. But the mission has been hugely criticised by a wide number of Kenyans, by the opposition, and by human rights groups.
Well, in the meantime, the U.S. military says a new team of Marines has been sent to Haiti to help protect the American embassy, a day after Prime Minister Henry announced his resignation following months of rising unrest and gang violence. In a statement, the U.S. Southern Command said a fleet of anti-terrorism security team known as FAST was deployed to the embassy in the capital, Port-au-Prince, which has been at the center of the chaos and civil disorder. We have more in this report from MSNBC.
The U.S. military announced a new team of Marines has been sent to Haiti to bolster security at the U.S. embassy there. It comes as violence in Haiti spirals out of control. And now that Prime Minister Ariel Henry announced he will resign once a transitional presidential council is established, gangs that control the majority of Haiti's capital are demanding a say in the country's political future. Joining us now is Jerry Straub, founder and president of the Santa Chiara Children's Center in Port-au-Prince. Jerry, it's always great to see you. I know that you've lived in Haiti off and on for so many years. You have an orphanage there. Your wife is a doctor there. What is the situation like for the people of Port-au-Prince today?
Oh, well, the people in Port-au-Prince have been suffering not only during this insurrection, but for the last 2 years. The violence has been extreme. Gangs would rush through some neighborhood and literally burn down 100 shack homes and force all the people out. And people were afraid to go out on the streets. And then this last week, it's been really intensified. All the schools are closed. There was no transportation. We're running out of food. Our orphanage is running out of water and diesel fuel. So it's been pretty horrific.
And Jerry, I mean, diesel fuel is so important for you and for your orphanage. You've got more than 40 kids there. How is this affecting that organization?
Well, we have to, the gas stations are all closed, so we have to go out and go on the black market. And we're paying, I just got gas and fuel, which we had to transport in our car. The other day, we're paying like $10 a gallon for gasoline. So, and you have to pay cash. So, people are really, 5 million Haitians are suffering from acute hunger. For nearly 9 years that I've been here, I've encountered people hungry and thirsty, but not just for food and water, but for some sense of justice and relief from the perpetual hopelessness and the mindless violence. They don't see any solution coming.
Yeah, and so important that you talk about that, Jerry, because it is a situation that has such profound, deep roots that are in many ways watered by the blood of innocent Haitian people. I'm just wondering, Jerry, where do you find the hope, and where is the hope for the future of Haiti, a country that is so extraordinary? Its people are so extraordinary. I'm just thinking, even from the 2010 earthquake, all of the issues that they've been dealing with. But do you find hope? Do they find hope?
Well, I was here during the earthquake, and I suffered post-traumatic stress from that experience. What is amazing, it's somehow, no matter how bad it is, they're able to dig deep down inside themselves and joke and laugh. For me, it's the children. Every time I feel like I want to just get on a plane and get out of here, which I can't do anymore, I just have to go downstairs and see my kids, and they make me smile. I've known most of them all their lives. All of my kids are throwaway, abandoned kids. This trip, I was supposed to go to Cuba with a little 2-year-old girl who needed a surgery, and the flight was canceled. It took me a month to work through all of that stuff to get her, get all the documents needed, and she even has her own, passport now. She's only 2 years old, but it's right now it's very tough. People are feeling they're glad Ariel is gone, but they don't want another clone of him, and they want a voice at the table. Because no one is caring about looking out for the needs of the poor, which are so critical.
Yeah.
Most people in my neighborhood have no running water, no toilets. It's every day is a struggle for survival.
And Jerry, how is it that we all can help, not only you, your organization, but how can we help Haiti?
I don't know. I mean, it's such a complex issue. For me, everything's about funding, because during this time, the shortage of food, the price of everything is going up, and that's a huge problem. But I don't think there are any simple solutions here. The gangs are never going to approve a provisional or a transitional government. They're the ones that did all the killing, and now they want amnesty and a place at the table. I really don't know how this is going to resolve. And so part of the problem is many of the politicians were the ones who empowered the gangs. So it's a difficult situation to understand them, and it would take me a lot of time to explain just what's going on.
Jerry, let's keep in touch. Of course, I very much appreciate what you do and how you do it. Jerry Straub, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Jose.
That's MSNBC. Well, political parties in Haiti have apparently rejected the US-backed CARICOM plan to create a presidential college or council that would manage the transition of the new leadership of the country. The presidential college would be responsible for selecting an interim prime minister and a council of ministers that would attempt to chart a new path for the Caribbean country that has been overrun by gangs.
But an ex-senator and presidential candidate, Moise Jean-Charles, who has teamed up with a former rebel leader, Guy Philippe, told a local radio station in Haiti that he would not participate in the plan. Philippe also seems to be rejecting it. He says no Haitian should accept any proposal from the international community. In a video posted on Tuesday on social media, Guy Philippe accused the community of being complicit with Haiti's elite and corrupt politicians and urged Haitians to take to the streets.
Where do we go from here, Mr. Hughes? Where do we go from here?
Well, I don't know if it's accurate for us to say, and the political parties in Haiti have apparently rejected the US-backed plan. I don't know if that has been established yet. Moise Jean-Charles and Guy Philippe, do they speak for the political parties? They're the ones being quoted here. Yeah, I'm not sure if that is so yet.
But certainly this has issues in terms of finding a consensus and the way forward.
Yes, definitely.
And especially when we say we want a Haitian-led solution.
Right. It's too early to say if this is really so. Yeah, too early. We need to hear from the political parties and the various civil society organizations, yes, the business groups in the country, before we come to this kind of conclusion. Certainly, if that's how they feel, and that will have to be respected.
And this chicken before the egg matter, which should come first? Should it be the security force that goes to Haiti, restores order, and then we go towards putting in a proper government and to lead towards elections? Or should it be the other way around? Because I don't see how you create a situation to afford for proper elections and proper political leadership in the absence of a proper control.
In the absence of security.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't work like that. I don't know. Let us see, though. I think it's today's what? Wednesday? This deal was struck on late Tuesday night?
Yes.
Yeah? So let us hear further. Yeah? But I can tell you the reaction of some people is, okay, let them sort it out.
You know what they say about power and vacuums?
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to go to the phones now. Time for your feedback questions. The numbers to call 876-630-93-7124 or 618-8255.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
7:20, and we're taking your calls. Faithful, you're on the line.
Good evening, Seven. Good evening, Mr. Youth.
Good evening.
Let me offer my deepest congratulations to Mr. Kevin Blake on his new appointment. I wish him well. One also, I hope that he get along well with his fellow teammates. I think that is the base for a good, successful commissioner of police. That being said, must I take into consideration that there is a Jocelyn position who can control his leadership, in the sense that Mr. Bunting is saying that he's assessing him for a couple of weeks, and he's warning him about the direction he's taken. I'm a bit confused. I don't know if the commissioner deem it fit that they use a state of emergency then, that he would accede into the government and the commissioner should accede to his wish.
I'm trying to understand the question you're asking.
All right, for example, he's saying that he's assessing the commission and the direction that the commission is going to take. He wish not for the commission to be being a tool for political one-manship, knowing that election coming up soon.
Mm-hmm. So what's the question?
Right. So I am wondering if the direction the commission take, suppose the government call for a state of emergency then and the commission agree with it, is it going to be then that the commission is politically controlled by the government?
No, can be.
But is it that's not what he said?
He is implying that.
Right, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but you can't then be definitive about it. I think what Mr. Bunting was doing is saying, listen, new commissioner, make sure you maintain the professionalism and impartiality in the running of the force.
But is that not suggestive?
Yes, sir, you can say it's suggestive, yes.
I'm thinking that if he does what the PMP deemed to be righteous, then he would not be a good commissioner in his eyes. Okay,
that's your view. Yes, that's your view.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's where I sit. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay. In 80, I thought the conference that it was Caribbean led. I never knew it was led by America.
Kenya.
No, I'm talking the meeting that we have on Tuesday, and to want to set up the
the high-level meeting on Tuesday. It was a CARICOM meeting to which the Secretary of State for the United States, Anthony Blinken, attended.
Right. But your Chris said this tonight that the young man in Haiti that might be one of the candidates to be a leader. He says he's American-led. That he's asking the people to come out and protest to reject the American-led system that they want to set up.
Mm-hmm. That's what he said.
Right. But is it so? In my mind, I'm thinking that this is Caribbean-led, not American-led.
Yes, it's Caribbean-led.
So I'm thinking. That's what I keep saying. The solve 80 problem is a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because anybody that they put there, they're gonna have some excuse to say either it's American puppet, some other puppet. I think the best way is for Haitians to solve their problem. Mm-hmm. But to go about it, it's going to be very hard. Because everybody going to want a piece of the pie. And is it that the gang is going to have to be a part of this decision making?
That is a level of insanity I don't think anybody's actually going to be taking seriously.
So how are they going to get around that?
As I said, I think the ultimate solution is that we need to have the multinational security force there to restore some level of order, to create a space in which a proper leadership structure can be set up in the country.
I am in favor of that, but that the nation is willing to. Right. Those that I heard, would you really want to reject that?
You'll always have people who want to reject anything. I mean, but I cannot imagine a solution where you have someone who admits to being a gang leader, who frees prisoners who frees inmates from prison, sitting down at a table to say, okay, let us be a part of the decision making of the future of the country.
Because in my mind, to have the Asian, I think they should be in charge. But how are they going to get around the gang? That's where you have the power. What is the protocol? How are they going to do that?
Well, I don't know, I don't know, because you need a organized superior force to deal with the gangs and to restore law and some semblance of security. All right, Faithful, got to give somebody else a chance now.
Carl, evening.
Evening, Shava. Evening, Mr. Yus.
Good evening, Carl.
Yeah, me want to raise 4 little short.
Make it 2.
Concerning the budget yesterday evening.
Make it 2, no?
PINSAC, the insurance, the pension. All right, this I will talk yesterday. The pension is an excellent idea. You could see that the government is thinking out of the box. And he never carried 3 million, where some people say. But they can't work out that. But Mr. Hughes, let me ask you something. You did one long time ago. You only can issue wealth if you have it, no sir?
You mean you only can distribute it?
Distribute wealth if you have it, no sir?
Yes, and I don't know if you can distribute wealth. You can distribute resources.
Resources, then.
Yes.
So, Mr. Hughes, if Nigel Clark was a careless man and see all I ducks them line up properly, he could have get up with it and run it around with him. He could have get up with it yesterday evening.
May I hear you, man? May I hear you? Go on.
But in control himself, and even this morning, I heard one little young man from the People's National Party is the nationwide this morning. And I heard one Monday morning also.
Which young man? Which young man?
Then they asked some financial person this morning, 2 of them. One was there from the opposition.
Uh-huh.
And he find every fault of what happened yesterday. And when they ask him how them would adjust the 3 million we then talk about, he saying don't want to go over the opposition when they speak tomorrow. Well, Mr. Hughes, none of us don't have to wait till tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mr. Hughes, if Nigel couldn't tell, we say, all right, yeah. If you give away 3 million,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have to end up losing $45.8 billion. What more discussion do we want concerning that?
Mm-hmm.
You understand me, Mr. Hughes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh?
May I hear you, Carl? Yes, go on.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And if what Julia now come with tomorrow can point to it and say to it, say, yeah, this is the way me did I go do it. And it would have cost X to do it. Then come and even tell me, say, this is the way you did it, but you know, work out how much we did I go lose, how much revenue you all give up, and it don't make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, if you notice what Nigel did also, he didn't just look for the person them who continue for your work, to give them 2 million threshold. He went across the board that even the pension person where did a sacrifice the years now get back something.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, if you notice what Nigel did also. So what you have to say about that, Mr. Hughes? That to them, you never listen to you.
I said today that Mr. Clark did very well. He was being very responsible. He didn't run with it. He didn't imperil the economy for the short-term imperative of politics. Right? And we are fortunate to have him at this time being the Minister of Finance.
I'd like to add, Mr. Hughes, that him explaining the costs that are associated with the income tax threshold increases was a bit of political genius, because he has now put Mr. Robinson and the opposition leader in a position where they will now have to come and explain how they're going to find $46 billion in the budget to fund their 3 million threshold promise. And if they can't come up with that figure in a really sensible way, I don't know how they can push that forward over the line to still continue telling people that they can deliver it.
Yes, yes.
Now we waste your time. Well, we have other things to talk about. We're not going to waste any time tomorrow to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Cartel, we have a cartel case we have to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we'll say tomorrow, all you go here say, maybe then we'll come back with the same foolishness. Maybe then they'll come with 40, if we run with 40 billion this time, they might come with about 30.
Mm-hmm.
The people suffer. They should have give more.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what some people who support them want to hear. Give more.
Yes.
But give it out of what? Just get up and give. And you don't know where you get back this from? Well, to me listen yesterday evening. And I listen budget speech from 1980 when Tiago used to hold till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night time. And this one left me to start go fully back again, but see that people is on the voters list and know where all of our people them are. Anyway, they're in Jamaica, we need to find them.
Okay, sir.
Because we have to keep this government in office. Straight talk.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Carl.
Good evening, Kyle. Well, we're taking a break and we'll come back with more of your calls.
The Integrity Commission Statutory Declaration form has changed. Download the new form and file securely within your organization before March 31. The time by the Integrity Commission is
7:32. Cleveland, how you doing?
How you doing? Mr. Hughes.
Hi, good evening, Cleveland.
I wonder if Mr. Bunting see that he won't able to manipulate this new commissioner. When he start fret already and worrying about he must be partial and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
What is his problem there, Mr. Hughes?
Me don't know what is his problem, sir. I don't know what is his problem.
Come on. In find say maybe he was able to push around this one and so on. Then start try to make him believe and get appointed because of politics. Putting that out there in the country at this time. Boy, I tell you, these people, you see, they won't even give the country a chance to make we have stop having this heap of killing and what have you. Support the man and wish him all the best.
I mean, I would imagine the entirety of Jamaica wishes him the best because crime remains our biggest threat.
Yeah. You know. But I don't know, sir. I tell you. Anyhow, though, Mr. Hughes and Siobhan, I still want to know what the thing for me. As a pensioner.
You're over 65?
Yes, sir.
Well, you were one of the big winners yesterday.
Exactly.
I'm getting some money in my pocket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward for that. A lot of people who listen because people calling me and ask me when me understand.
You're getting a pension?
Yes, sir.
So your income tax threshold is now up?
Yeah, effectively what, 2.1 million?
2.1 million
Lord,
effective
time
April.
to see that, Mr. Hughes, because trust me, they're under wage freeze for so much years from the PMP government. Mr. Hughes, remember them days where the government have to wait to borrow money to pay government workers? You know of those days?
Yes, sir, I heard about them. And
Lord have mercy. Yes, man, certain people have in some big company. You got to work Friday, man, I expect to get to pay for wait till up in the evening.
Yeah.
Then I'm able to put some money together.
Yes, sir.
To pay us. And then it follow up with the wage freeze. Then give we a 5,000 bond to hold for how much? 6 years, I think it was. For some people, look that ain't gonna wait and some general come up round and say, all right, make we put the money together here into a scheme. And I'll know people don't hear gunfire about that 5,000 check. Nobody to explain to them what happened. You know?
Yeah.
So we don't want to get back in them days that tall. We have to continue doing what we're doing.
Cannot go back to those days, Cleveland.
No, sir. No way. No way. But you see, sometimes some of these youngsters there, they don't even know of these things, you know, Mr. Hughes.
No, they don't. They don't.
But we go through some rough time, economic-wise, in this country.
Yeah.
Right? And then Mr. Davison come now and just sign off everything right there. And gone home with his big package and leave it back into a box there now. Can't make a way out. But anyhow, thank God for Mr. Clark.
Oh.
We have some better understanding of to keep things going. That everybody can enjoy something from it. You know.
All right, Cleveland.
All right.
Good.
Lloyd, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Lloyd.
I am noticing that during the time when taxpayers were tasked with paying back the treasury bill money, you never have commentators who were seen to be encouraging revolt. And every time they talk, they was saying that people are suffering, and it is near to them going on the street and revolting and things like that. And all of a sudden, some of these people in the last, I would say 4 to 5 years, all of a sudden they see that there are people suffering in Jamaica as if in the past everybody was living very good. And it seems to me like some of these people, they benefited from the high interest rate, waited until some of them was paid off, and now they are spurring campaign. People must get livable wages and all kind of things, trying to spur the people them into a revolution on the ground. I hear it all over. All of a sudden, Jamaicans are suffer. Jamaicans weren't suffering in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's just since 2016, Jamaicans are suffer. At the same time, they are saying shortage of labor. And some of these people, some months ago, they were talking about the youth on the corner, rubbing out there and mingle. They never see that is those kind of living. That's why workers are short. Those guys don't want any work. I experience enough of these guys. Know what them do? Them berate every type of work. And at the same time, you see them catch up in that Sunday corner, and the people them were going to do those work. Them I tell them, say what, daddy? Let us have a bill, sir. Them I beg you out of the work when you go do what them said. Them no what. Enough of these commentators. Them sneakingly I try to say that the shortage of labor at the government caused it. Because they want to train people and no have not trained people. Yet months ago, them are complaining, say them see youth, I rub up them and mingle, and you know what them not talk about? Them miss the cup. Them are rub out them and mingle, and the cup they near to them. Them filled with alcohol.
All right, sir. All right. Good.
Peter, evening.
Mr. Hughes.
Good evening.
Yes, sir, Hughes. From Central St. Mary.
Peter?
Yeah, man, Islington.
Uh-huh.
You know, Mr. Hughes, which country is this? Where am I? Foreign or Jamaica?
Jamaica, I'd like to think.
You really? You know, Mr. Hughes, I'm 71 years old. I never think I would live to see this, you know.
What's that?
For the first time in my life, I'm proud of my country. And this is a government that people don't want. Can you believe it?
What are you proud of?
The state that my country is in, amidst the crime, this country is not living and borrowing. The state of the economy and some things, what I've seen, the infrastructure and everything, oh my gosh, I'm happy to be a Jamaican.
So tell me, Peter, you're one of the beneficiaries for the new pension changes. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling happy. Happy, and no surprise. This is what the JLP has been about for years. This is what the JLP has been about. But I got a brother live in Maryland, and when he listens nationwide, he tell me listen nationwide, and with people, I'm really wondering, this Jamaica? Yes, a Jamaica. Wow. Well, when I listened to the budget yesterday, I am not surprised. And when I say I know what's going to come from the Prime Minister, and I believe the momentum going to change, and hold on, and we're going to still have this government next election. I'm not a diehard, but I'm this for the government. This government makes a difference. This administration, and I'm not surprised.
So the people and your neighbors in St. Mary don't say that?
You know me say you, no sir. If you see where we at, in central St. Mary, we like limbo. We become the forgotten place right now. We see that St. Thomas is gone ahead, left us. Gone ahead of us. There's no development at all in the central St. Mary. My MP, which although I didn't vote for him, but he's still my MP, I'm a citizen of this country. I've not done nothing in 4 terms to leave a legacy. Nothing. Because of diehard.
No. You're saying that after 4 terms, Dr. Guy
Sir,
has done
you
nothing?
can ask anybody, what have we have? We have nothing to show in central St. Mary.
Oh, dear.
Nothing, absolutely nothing but bad roads.
You have a
Bad
new fire station.
road.
You have a new fire station.
Well, no, I'm talking about, well, yes, but that's not for my MP.
Oh. It happened under his watch?
It happened under his watch.
Yes. You don't give him any credit for that?
You know why I give credit for that, sir?
Who?
The mayor, the former mayor.
Mayor Creary?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Not Dr. Guy.
Why you give Creary the credit for it?
Because he was the mayor really for St. Mary.
So it
But
was all he's doing. It was nothing to do with Guy, right?
Well, I don't know about, in the depth of that, I might not understand to do with Dr. Guy, but I'm talking about very, very hot. And when you go through his constituency all over the place, you may find 1 chain or 2 chain of good road, but bad roads. Period. There's a stretch of road from which I called Mr. Hughes already and tell him from Rosen past the high school right back to Whitehall. He's never been touched for 21 years. And Dr. Guy would never come and I said nothing on nationwide about it. I've listened, and other councillors come, other mayors come and call, but he's not coming. You never find him come.
Which road is this?
Wrong.
Which road is this?
And nationwide, I say something about the road in Islington.
Which road in Islington is this one?
Woolley Road, but I'm talking about a specific one from Rosen to the Horace Clark High School, go right back down. Good stretch.
Yes, I know that road. Yes. And how long it has been touched?
20 odd years.
20 odd years?
Yes, I have a grandson that is 21 and before you were born.
Uh-huh.
That was never touched until today. They just pass out one little chain and they keep some bad one and go again and go scrap. And what happened?
So what about the stretch from Friendship Primary back into Port Maria? That stretch is in a very bad way as well.
Well, I tell you one thing, the one from Rosen, he'll come up to, sir. I don't know if you go on Rosen and come up the hill. You stretch all the way to Horace Clark High School.
Yes.
Always bad and just get worse. And with the councillor, the caretaker, the JLP, which is Mr. Lecky, he was doing something on the road and they stopped him.
What do you mean
filling out
stop
the
him?
road so we could drive, and he was stopped.
What do you mean
But
stop
I
him?
thank God they
Who
stopped him
him?
when we could be able to drive. Because he was, and I really understand what's going on at Islington. But regarding, in spite of that, I'm still happy for my country. And I heard the president of the Jamaica private sector organization of Jamaica, or whatever, said that any party win should have Nigel as finance minister. What a genius. No, serious. We don't put politics aside. He's a genius. We never. My Jamaica, a sweet Jamaica. Now, let's hear. So, Mr. Hughes, I'm happy, but it's just that I really want to see a change, and I believe, I don't know. The only change we might get unless we change MP and we change councillor, that's the only thing we're going to help us.
Well.
But then, and I'm happy to hear that the government going to release the history of FinSac so the younger generation can look and see where we're coming from to where we are now. And have a sense of what's really going on and make sensible decisions.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure, I don't hope I'm not preempting nationwide, Mr. Hughes, but I'm sure once we have access to those archives, we're certainly going to be doing something with them in terms of bringing it to the people.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Anthony, good evening.
Good night, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing quite well. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Mr. Hughes, concerning the announcement by the finance minister yesterday with the pension, the increase in pension, I'm not too clear. Does it include NIS pensioners?
All pensioners.
All pensioners?
Yes.
Okay, for I am over 70, but I am just getting the NIS pension. So I was just wondering if I'm included in that too.
I see. I don't know yet. Well, you say all pensioners.
Yes, all pensioners would benefit from the. But I suppose it will have an impact based on whether you're if you're only on NIS. Then I imagine that the threshold increase does not have as greater impact on you as, say, someone who would get their pension through other means, such as investments or from their place of employment. So I suppose it does have a material impact if you're just on an NIS pension.
Oh, I see. So some benefits would be accrued still, but might not be as much as those who are in government service or used to be in government service or private service, where they have private pension schemes. Is that correct?
Essentially.
Or that is your understanding of it?
That is my understanding, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks very much. But I would love if someone from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security would probably throw some light on that. So
it's definitely something that we should look into, because there is you are right. There is the discrepancy between how much would this impact, say, someone on a government pension versus someone just on an NIS versus someone who has supplemental income towards their pension from other sources.
Definitely, right. Yes, it will affect it. Okay? So,
right,
probably at a opportune time, you probably could shed some light on it by getting someone, to explain it. Right, sir?
Yes, sir, definitely. Rob, you're on the line.
Yes, pick up yourself, you. How you doing?
Doing quite well.
Yeah, man. Cliff?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Real big man of the business.
Evening, sir.
That gentleman from I'm originally from that area, from Dr. Guy's constituency. It's in bad need of some help, Horace Clark was there. I'm from a place called Jackson. You know up there, Cliff, the hills of Jackson?
No, I don't know Jackson.
Sunside though.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Sunside, and go up along the road and go up. The man up there's some bad road up there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Dr. Guy is on his way out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but his legacy that he's left is not really commendable. When will Marky G will be bringing his budget speech?
Next week, Tuesday, I believe, yes.
Okay. I hope he will tell the nation how he's going to fund his $3 million threshold.
I'm hoping we shouldn't have to wait that long. We should hear that specifically from the finance spokesman from the PNP.
When will he be coming in?
Tomorrow.
Oh, so okay, so it's in his about to be in his court tomorrow.
Yes, essentially.
So that's how he's going to fund how is he going to fund that aspect of his 3 million? Because they have a way of saying, do as I say, but not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're gonna listen to his. And so, Cliff, for you, very very quiet in Cliff. When I come on the ear, and I come out on the ear.
You asked me a question. Siobhan has been doing a good job with you.
We've sent you, Cliff, a really big man. Who do you think will be the front runner to replace my MP as the Minister of Works? Talk up the things, Cliff.
The front runner to replace him?
Yes, in the Minister of Public Works. You have any idea? Who would be your choice?
As Minister of Works, I have no idea. I haven't heard anything.
Who is your choice, Cliff? Putting you on the spot.
I haven't thought about it.
Okay. Okay.
You want to know who my choice is, though I don't think they could potentially do it under the circumstances?
Yes.
I would choose Juliet Holness.
Juliet?
Yes.
A lady?
Yes. No, she has a background in this very specific portfolio of matters such as work. She handles contracting and construction. I don't see why it could not be Mrs. Holness, other than the fact that she is the current sitting Speaker of the House. She would have to be replaced in that portfolio.
Whoa, that would be remarkable, ain't Cliff? A woman getting that job as Minister of Works. Yeah, man,
I have not thought about it. Now that you have raised it, sir, I should really give it some thought. But giving it some thought is really not a moment, you know. There's one man who has that job.
Yes, sir. That's so true.
One man.
That's so true.
Andrew Holness. He will decide in his own good time who he wants to replace Warmington as the Works Minister.
Yeah, we have 49. We have 49 members there. We must can find somebody there, man.
Several.
Go on the back bench and take up one of them.
Several. Several you can find.
Give them some work.
Several people.
Give them some work, man. There's some talented one there sitting down. You know, you don't call any if you don't remember them. Yeah, man. Go in there and find one of them, man. Maybe one of them, even the few body from St. Mary. Right name, that's my name. The one overthrow. The name again, Cliff.
Who's what?
The pharmacist from St. Mary there.
Oh, Dunn.
Right, if you can talk about them, man, give one of them some work, man. Go draw one of them and give Dr. Dunn. He's the forgotten one, man.
He's a state minister now.
Yes, he is.
He's a state minister, but you know, we could promote him and give him one of those work. A lot of those country roads want to fix up, you know.
Especially the roads in St. Mary.
Right, that would bring a spark to St. Mary. True. As it's about to the Cliff. If I look on that, you know, St. Mary, man, you gotta bring some spark to St. Mary and energize the JLP base.
You could be onto something, you know, sir.
Yes, man.
You could be onto something.
The program, you know. Give Dr. Dunn the Minister of Public and Works and see if we can win over St. Mary. Because St. Mary want to win over, you know. That's where I come from. And from a barn and grow, Horace Clark at the MP of my place. And for people in my labor right. Back in the Barton James, Harry James, I them we vote from way back, but at PNP always win at the seat there for Horace Clark. And man and lose at the seat there.
No, PNP has never lost it.
Yeah, so we need to put Dr. Dunn there and energize the base, man, and bring home St. Mary. So we can confirm St. Mary. What become a Harry Douglas? Pip.
He's still alive.
He's still alive?
Yes, he's still alive.
You think it's funny here when they know Cliff. Yeah, man, I interview him, man. I asked him what one. Because we used to love to hear him. Although when they on my side, we used to love to hear him attack with him, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, man. All right, Cliff, take care. Nice program.
Okay, good. All right. That's where we're going to leave it for this evening. Thank you so much to our callers, or WhatsAppers, or YouTubers, and our tweets. Thank you so much. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson. And of course, Cara Powell and her team in the newsroom. Yes? See you until tomorrow morning. Yes. I'm Cliff Hughes.
I'm Siobhan Campbell. Big day tomorrow.
Yes. Busy day tomorrow.
The country could be shaken to its core tomorrow.
Wow. All right, let us see. Have a good night.